out real quick.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're
Part 3, and I'll try not to keep everyone. I know that we're going to hear Rooster soon. I'm just teasing. All right, so part 3, and...
So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I want to know more about you asking the questions.
Me?
Actually.
What got you into
camera.
interviewing people?
Particularly why, like, these are great questions. You're putting forth here, so...
Who
Just
is
like-
the man behind the camera?
Yeah.
Well, the dog is falling asleep, and I think the dog will roll over if I start answering those questions. But no, the reason I ask is... Okay, I was just going to say because I used to be the person living out of suitcases and traveling around. So, like, for example, in Brazil, I used to be in a reggae band, and we were on TV, and I played blues guitar in a band, and I was down in Brazil, and I've done these things where I lived in Hawaii for a while, and so I saw a lot of myself in what I was hearing in these stories, and I used to teach English and travel around. But what I've always been about and what I admire are people that take risks and live the unconventional life. You know, and so that, when I say unconventional, it's really becoming more conventional. So this is more of the norm, right?
Yeah.
And so what you're doing when you do this and hosting these events and having people here and bringing community together is you're inspiring other people to live their dreams and to do the same thing. So I was teaching at a performing arts college. I don't even know if the college wants me to name their name. Like, so we'll just say a really cool performing arts college. They're like, he makes these crazy YouTube videos. I don't know. Just kidding. No, but those students are amazing. One of the reasons I wanted to teach there is because they do community service. They teach people and raise money for schools, totally selfless, and they just travel around the world, and some are in Japan, some are in Germany. So these are people that are inspiring me, and they also have the same thing. They're like between 18 to 30, or 23, 24, and the instructors are amazing. The staff is amazing. And we've all done different things musically or dance-wise. And it's pretty cool because what I like is they don't have a future. Some of them, I mean, what I mean by that is there is no backup plan. And from a lot of people that I've interviewed, right? There is no backup plan. That this is it and you make it work. You decide that this is what you want to do and you make it work. I think Will Smith in a video clip says something like this, that there is no plan B. The minute you decide that there's a plan B, you're in trouble. Now, what I believe is there has to be a little bit of balance between risk and, you know, with the finances. Because with the financial base, that's one way to do it. It takes a little bit of the uncertainty and creates a little more stability and predictability. But I've done both. I've done it where I didn't have that as much, lost everything almost, and then was able to rebuild. But I've never been broke from that, you know. And I've found ways to rebuild. And then I've interviewed people that have nothing. Like there's one friend that I used to be friends with, and he's a millionaire, and he just gave everything away. He's found that to earn more money and be liquid based, and just like he basically helped me to realize you could live from experience. So I see more and more this idea of people. Have you noticed this, Chris, too?
Yeah.
That people are less materialistic. You can find a balance, but they're minimalistic and they're going more into experience. Because at the end of the day, the experiences, the relationships, being of service, that is so rewarding. Now, materialism is not bad. You're sitting on a couch. This is an iPhone that's recording this. So
I'd be okay sitting on the
But is that making sense that there's a balance? But what are your thoughts on this, the balance between materialism and minimalism and the idea of, well, you don't need anything versus you need something versus you need finances versus you don't really need finances? What is a myth and what part is kind of make-believe?
I think it's kind of hard to go between the two. Like if you have a ton of stuff, it's hard to go from having a ton of stuff to not having a ton of stuff, and like to sort of go through that process of like not just keeping on the trajectory that you're on.
Explain a little more about that.
But like I don't know, like it's sort of a thing of I want to be doing a little bit more traveling and stuff. It's just sort of a matter of getting myself into yes, this is what I'm going to do, and I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But
well, you have a backup plan too. You were mentioning college, and then
I graduated last year.
Yeah, and then you had your education, so you could always do other things
in
beyond.
music.
And in music. But that's still, the teacher.
Yeah, so I was gonna.
But there's skills that you gather.
Yeah,
in college
I was gonna double major in math, and then I got to abstract algebra, and I was like, okay, I'm done after this. Like analysis,
And Jim also has, like, you do graphic design, you said online.
Oh, I studied, like, international business in school, and I got my degree in that, and I'm not really using it at all. But, yeah, the whole, like, playing music and the computer stuff, that's all self-taught, and, but it's, yeah, like, the going to school and getting a degree, it's a good backup plan. Like, I'm not going to be doing the traveling stuff for my entire life, maybe just, like, the next few years, and, after that, I'll find something stable.
How did you both get the ideas to do what you're doing? And Chris, we want your story.
So, like, when I was a teenager, I remember, like, 17 or 18, I was gonna do the same thing, just, like, travel and play house shows, and, my parents were like, go to college. And I went to college, and then, like, whatever, like, 4 or 5 years later, now I'm doing it this, like, what I had in mind as this 18-year-old, so, I don't know, just I always had the idea of, like, yeah, you know, I have enough connections, and hopefully, you know, I can set up these events with a lot of work and stuff, and, yeah, I just always wanted to do this, and now I'm doing it, so it's cool.
So, my story is, like, my whole life I always had in the back of my mind that I was gonna do music in some way, shape, or form, but, like, I don't know, for a while I was like, I'm gonna do engineering, I'm gonna do physics, I'm gonna do math, and, like, it wasn't until I started really looking at colleges, I was like, oh, I can just do music, and so, like, yeah, so I graduated from college a year early, so I could basically just go work on music stuff and not be sitting in a classroom being like, why am I here? I want to go play music. And so, like, my last year of college, there was a guy who sent me a Facebook message being like, I'm looking for house shows, I'm looking for a place to play in Cincinnati, and I was still out in Iowa in college at the time, but he ended up doing a house show at my house and like staying with my parents, and so I finally met him. I finally met him a couple months ago because he's up in Pennsylvania. And he's really cool, but, like, he did the whole Megabus tour thing, and, like, that was the first time I'd really heard of, like, house shows and Megabus and all that, and so, like, so he did that in February, and then by July, I was like, oh, right, I was starting to open up for some random bands touring through Cincinnati, like, people that would post on the Cincinnati DIY Facebook group and stuff, and I was like, well, these people are just hopping in bands and touring, I can hop on a Megabus and tour, let's do it. So then when the next round of Megabus tickets went on sale in July, I was like, okay, I'm getting Megabus tickets, and I know people, and I'm gonna go hang out places. And so now it's a matter of figuring out what I'm doing from here, but it's like, I want to do music, no matter what I don't really care so much about stability. I just want to be doing music forever. That's really all I want to do, and I'm gonna find a way to make it work, because like you were saying,
just steal a bunch of stuff and
well, that's
Chris, what are your thoughts?
Well, so that's the stealing stuff. We're joking about that, and that's fantastic.
Am I?
But I think it connects to what you were asking about earlier. This trend we may be seeing. It's right. Yeah. This trend we may be seeing, and like with more vagabonding happening than just our Walt Whitmans in life, but a larger number of people all the time stepping into those roles as like artists and vagabonders, carrying that story and traveling from community to community, similar to our minstrels or wandering storytellers.
And that's sort of one other thing is a couple years ago. So
hang on, part 4.